another question that we asked Mark, because he had been in the business for so long when he finally got his world title, and we asked him, what it felt like to, after all your hard work, to finally have the big one, and what it felt like that night laying his head on the pillow as world champion. So obviously we all know about Mania and the show that was put on. What was it like having that title, going back home, and just like that feeling of, I just did that?
Man, that was a wild night. For one, you have to understand how new I was. It's my very first year on the main roster. So you have this person who is super new, and I'm just happy that I'm on the main roster, and I'm just happy at the time to be in the Royal Rumble, which is, which I won the Royal Rumble, and that's what got me to WrestleMania. And I remember winning the Royal Rumble and just being happy that I won. And then I looked to the left and I saw the WrestleMania sign, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to WrestleMania. I get to choose a champion. I get to have a title match at WrestleMania. And then, us, all of the fans rallying behind us and creating this hashtag for us to be the main event, and us not even, knowing. So it just kept getting better and better and better. And we found out, I think, the night before, along with everyone else, that we were main eventing WrestleMania.
Wow.
I remember we both broke down. We had to take a minute. We both broke down, and I'm like, is this real? Like, how is this happening right now? And how is it me that's in this position? So I was excited, but I also felt like there was like this huge weight on my shoulders. Because it could have been anybody else in this position. There's been so many other Black women before me that could have been here. And because of what they've done, that's why we were in that position. So we were able to make history and be the first 2 Black women to ever main event WrestleMania. And that day, I remember it was a thunderstorm, and it delayed WrestleMania. And at this point, WrestleMania even going to happen because it's outside? And what if it starts lightning during the match? And I'm like, I was like, I knew it. It was too good to be true. I knew it. Matches are going to be canceled. And it was so much like anticipation. And then I remember right before I went out, I'm usually very, very nervous before my matches. And right before I went out, I remember my husband looked at me. He was like, how do you feel? And I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I was so calm. Like, it was eerie. And I was like, I'm good. I feel good. Like, I just had this really weird feeling of like, nah, you got this. You're good. But then my music hit, and I went out there and I got in the ring. And if anybody wants to know how much that moment meant to me, just go back and watch that match. Before the match even starts, I think everything just hit me all at once. It's me sitting across from Sasha. It's the first time that everybody had gotten back together since the pandemic. And we're at the main event of WrestleMania, and all this anticipation and thunderstorms and all this stuff building up. And we were finally in that moment, and I broke down.
Yeah.
We don't blame you.
That was an amazing moment to watch you two. And I'm glad you brought that up, because, a lot of times, social media will have this thing where, well, why do you bring color into stuff? Well, because in this particular case, it meant something. Yeah. Like you said, the first 2 African-American women to do something like that, to let other little girls know that this could be something that they can achieve. Because Miss Jackie, she never got that chance. And Jazz never got that chance. And Awesome Kong never got that chance. Women who could have, they never did. So it does mean something. Despite when people try to tell you it doesn't, it does mean something, man. So when you two looked at each other and you got that emotion on your face, and it was evident. I mean, I got goosebumps then. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. And it was just, that was one of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling. And you two didn't even lock up yet.
I know. And that's what's so special about that. Like, without even us touching each other or saying anything, the moment was already there. And I think like the whole wrestling universe just stood still. I have goosebumps now too. Sorry. The whole wrestling universe, WWE universe, just stood still in that moment. And it's because that moment was bigger than just wrestling. That's what was so special about it. And that night, I walked away with that title, but at the end of the day, neither one of us lost that night. We both won. Everybody won that night. Yeah. And we won an ESPY off of that moment. Mm-hmm. It was just, it's something that's indescribable to even explain. I think I've only watched that match back twice because it takes so much emotion out of me when I watch it. It's just something that's one of my favorite moments ever, and it jumpstarted my career to now like where I am now. But yeah, that moment was huge.
Watch new episodes of No Contest Wrestling every Wednesday or listen wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us at No Contest Wrestling Podcast on Instagram.